you talked a little bit about how you ended up at TU. Um, but what folks don't seem to really get about you, and I think it's because you do understate it, even as a radio guy, you're a hell of a football player, and you played a lot of center, which until you
Right.
get to high school football, you really don't understand how much that guy is responsible for. So whenever you will talk about, say, Creed Humphrey at Oklahoma, my ears perk up. And one of the things that I try to get across to folks is just how talented that guy is. And when Lincoln says, no, it's not Kyler Murray, it wasn't Rodney Anderson, it's not Marquise Brown, the most talented player on our football team is Creed Humphrey. I was really going, okay, what am I missing here? Because I know he's good, but why is he so good? And I tried to answer that question. I wonder, could you speak to that a little bit as to how you grew up playing center, and then what you see from this kid?
One thing that I did, and it kind of it materialized a little bit in college, and it really took shape my first couple of years on the practice squad in the NFL. Was I was I was able to play multiple positions. I played center as a little kid, and I kind of moved to guard. I was a tackle. I came to TU. I was a tackle my first couple of years, and then they moved me inside to guard. And I get drafted as a guard. I'm finally end up in Buffalo, and we're on doing the practice squad, which is every day you go out and you're running the other teams. You run the other team's plays. That's what you do. You're giving a look. And I would get bored.
Hmm.
I'm like, man, this is boring, dude. I don't want to keep doing right. I said, hey, I got the ball today. I'm snapping. And they're like, okay. So I start snapping. I'm just boom, shotgun snapping, doing whatever. And then next thing you know, they come up to me and say, hey, can you play tackle? The guy that's playing tackle this week's a lot like you, built like you. I want you to beat on Marcellus all week and give him a look so that he's ready for the game. Sure. So I go outside and go play tackle.
Hmm.
And then next thing you know, when I make it, I play roughly 9 years of starting football for the Bills, and about 3 years of those nine, I played right tackle. About 3 years of that nine, I played right and left guard, and the other 3 years I played center.
Hmm.
And it was one of those things where I was versatile and able to play a lot of spots. But I look at Creed Humphrey, and what you get out of Creed it's funny. I look at him as an old school center. Centers at one time were big dudes. They were real big guys because most of the teams back in the day, a lot of teams played a 3-4 front. They had a head up nose guard.
Okay.
So you had a big center. He might not necessarily be the most mobile guy in the world, but he's smart. He can snap the ball, and he's able to play that nose guard one on one, and he can mash on him a little bit. Well, after that, as teams started kind of morphing to the 4-man front, when the zone became popular, and everybody was running zone, what they would do is they put these big, humongous, 350-pound nose guards and three techniques in the game, and they'd have these little, small, scrawny middle linebackers, and all those two dudes inside did was tie up three guys, and that little linebacker, he'd make like 25 tackles a game.
Right.
Prime example, Zach Thomas, who played for the Dolphins. So those centers back in the day weren't necessarily real big guys. They were smaller dudes, guys that could hop up, run, try to chase the middle linebacker and that stuff. Guys like Mark Stepnoski, who played at the most at like 265, 270, I think. Creed, to me, has the size of the old school center and the athletic ability of the small centers from the 80s and 90s. And he's a morph. I mean, the guy's a giant. And the thing is, he's what, 19, and he looks like he's 45.
Yeah, he's still a child. Yeah,
Right, he's still a child. I mean, he's 3+, he's 6'5", he runs, he moves well, he's smart. And I think the hold up on Creed was, for the longest time, and I'm trying to place myself in these meetings as a fly on the wall, and I can hear Bill Bedenbow holding him back because he's just like, no, he's too young. What we do is too complicated. It's too intricate. He's not going to get it. And I hear Lincoln and them going, Bill, that's the best guy on our team at any position, let alone center. He needs to play. And Bill going, no, he's not ready yet. He's not ready yet. We got to play Alvarez. And then eventually the head coach is like, look, that cat has to play. Because if you remember early in the year, they had a couple games where they split time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And eventually it was like, you you got to let the young buck go. Young bull's got to eat. He's got to go. And they let him go, and the rest is history. So it's funny. We're looking at this game this week, or should I say tomorrow, the semifinal. And Williams, the inside guy for Alabama, who many think might possibly be the best player in the draft, let alone best D lineman. He's I'm going, well, where are they going to put him? And somebody's like, well, surely they're going to put him on the freshman. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's a definite. I mean, I know a couple other spots I would put him before I stick him head up on Creed the whole time. That's how highly I think of the kid. Now, is tomorrow a totally different stage? Yes, it is. And he'll have some jitters and do some things. And I know he still makes mistakes, but I mean, just pure raw ability. I haven't seen one like that in quite some time.
Well, and it's interesting you brought up the battle between him and Alvarez, where they were saying that this is closer than Kyler and Kendall, and Kyler and Kendall was supposed to be very close, if you believe what they say, and I got no reason to doubt Lincoln Riley on that. But the thing that you mentioned about wanting to hold him back because he's young, at Oklahoma, the thing to usually do is go with the vet. The thing to do is, if that guy has, it's not just waiting your turn, because that's not college football, especially at this level. It's that I can trust that guy. I know that he's been in this system for however long. I know that he's an adult. I know that he's gone from not knowing how to enroll in classes to being able to pay his bills on time, because that's what you have to do in college. And just having that level of trust is about the difference between, do you want to hang out with an 18-year-old or do you want to hang out with a 24-year-old? It is really that big a difference. And for them to not only go with Creed, but to go with Creed with an extremely old offensive line. I mean, Cody Ford's been around a long time, even though he hadn't started. Bobby Evans is your best tackle and your vet. Samia and Powers, those guys, they don't have time for you to catch up. They want to go win a national championship. So I thought all of that going into it, just me taking in what they have to say and how they're saying it, I was going, well, maybe he is really that good. And maybe you do have to let him go.
RJ, the thing that the most, and you touched on something, and it's when you look at that group and the veterans that they have, there probably was some nervousness maybe about respect issues or things of that nature, because that group had played so many games together and they were such a solid group, Alvarez being part of that group for the last couple of years. And here's this young guy coming in, and obviously he did the right things in the off season. He did the right things in the summer. He did the right things to get their trust, because if they did not trust him, he would not be playing. So it's quite obvious that he has done what he needed to do to play, because those older guys took him in and it was seamless. And actually, to be honest with you, it was better. The product was better. And it's, offensive line's a position that you have to do the same technique probably 200, 300,000 times over and over and over again. It is a position of repetition. You step the same way, you fit the same way, your hands the same way, your head the same way. And then after that, it's 1-2. You gotta fly around and have, just an unbelievable effort. After that, it's a 1-2 type thing. But those early parts, the steps, the hand placement, the head placement, that is all repetition. It's feel, it's seeing it before. Powers, Samia, Ford, Evans, they have seen these things thousands of times. For Humphrey to come in and fit that well that early just shows how special he is.